Welcome to writingalong.com. Today's episode is all about how writing makes you smarter. And smarter in the sense of not you're just this intellectual beast who can just, uh, you know, accomplish all these complex scientific, like, define smart for yourself. Because when I'm using the word smart, I mean you're just able to think a little clearer. The thoughts in your brain are able to connect from one location to another a little easier. Your memory is a little more, like, you're just more cognizant. Everything flows better. Not necessarily your mind is just inflated with all this knowledge that you're really, frankly, never going to use. Define smart for yourself because you're usually taught in standard traditional schooling systems, right? That writers are usually super intelligent. And what does that mean, though? Because then smart is also at the same time often taught to you as this feature, this function, this thing you're either born with that you have or you don't have. And usually it means you can memorize the periodic table and you can memorize a times table, and you just have a great, almost photographic memory. I think photographic memory is something that's valued a little more in schooling systems, in the American workforce, in whatever country you're from. It may be very similar, it may not be. If it's not similar to that, then you're living in a, I'd say, a luxury. Like, that's great because millions of people where I'm from are very familiar with being smart and intelligence as simply being, knowing stuff. But I know plenty of people who know a lot of stuff, but could not solve a problem on their own for the life of them. And I really think, practical skills, stuff that problem solving is a huge component of intelligence. And most humans are pretty much capable of developing that side of themselves. It's not something that is really limited, it's something that requires a simple acknowledgement of yourself and its relation to the world. And that in itself is a step, again, that is a lot of people don't really take. And it's not always their fault. There's not always the time that you can find to do that. And can you imagine really walking into a lecture or something, and the teacher or professor says, all right, the first step to this is getting to know ourselves and our relation to the world around us and how we perceive it, how we interact with it. That's really what's going to dictate how far you're going to go. No, usually you hear how far you're going to go is how much you study. How far you're going to go is how well you listen to what we tell you to do. And following directions is a little frightening when you think about it. The way I think about it is, if the directions were to commit a genocide and you were a great rule follower, what do you think you would do if these people in authority told you to do that? You would probably follow what. It's horrifying, is what I'm saying. Intelligence is kind of breaking out of that box, and it's harder to come by in daily life because it's just so habitual to listen to what you're told. And there's nothing wrong with following directions at all, but having a conscious decision making on your own about what you're doing, your actions, and your relation to them, what flows in you, and how you proceed, what your physical body does next, what your mind does next, where it goes, that kind of stuff. Or the thought process of what you're feeding your mind influences the way you actually think. I don't just mean what you eat and consume, like food wise. I mean, what you let in is going to dictate how you think. That kind of thinking. People might call it metacognition or thinking about thinking, but that it's not really practical if you're just going to study that. I mean, applying that and letting that in your. How do you do that? How do you become better at that? Because that's like, it's self mastery at the next level. It's something else. It's like really utilizing your mind in every way you can. That's what I really think being smart is. And you know it when you see it. You're talking to someone and they just have this self knowledge. It doesn't mean that they're just talking about themselves, but they're aware of themselves, and they're aware of the world around them and the people around them as well, and what is being said and what is influencing this and that, and your brain, again, is related to that. And you can say it's everything in your body too, but for convenience sake, let's just say your brain, because that's what medical literature is saying is also important now, right? Did you know in ancient Egypt, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be completely wrong, but the concept is the same. It was believed that your heart actually was where all this thinking occurred, where all this processing occurred. So just take that kind of stuff with a grain of salt, which is what I'm saying. I follow that stuff as to the greatest practical extent as you can, but don't let it dictate and define everything. Because that knowledge, that sphere is changing, it's developing. It's fun, it's wonderful. These processes that help us, develop and deepen our understanding of what's around us. But there's something else that is, it's stable. It doesn't really, it's linear. It doesn't deviate so far, and you can hold on to it and grab onto it and have a sense of who you are and what you are. And that, to me, again, that's intelligence. And writing, there's a writing channel, so let's connect it to writing. It helps you find that. It helps you develop and grow that, because when you're focused on something like conveying words, which is an upper level process in your brain, and getting them onto a page, that requires something that you otherwise wouldn't be doing if you were just, passively living and just existing, just being without any kind of other conscious actions, awareness, agency, taking things into your own hands. And in a world where you don't really have much control, right? Where you don't always get to choose everything about your life. There are some things you may not like about yourself. There's some things you may hate about yourself, about your own life, about your own situation. And, you can't always bring it up because you don't want to be a downer to people around you, but, you feel it, you think it sometimes. And what you can control is whether you're writing or not, what you're writing and what you're not writing, when you choose to, when you choose not to. I mean, you can write whenever you want. You can find 5 minutes a day to yourself, 2 minutes a day, 1 minute. Write somewhere. Get a pen, grab a pencil, open your phone notes. And that decision making is something that it lights up certain connections in your brain. It gets you in the habit of being self-aware, of taking things into your own hand, in your own actions. And that over time makes you smarter in that way. In the most important way, yes, you're not burying your head in a book in all these encyclopedias. Trust me, if someone read an entire encyclopedia collection, I'm talking, I don't know how many books that would span, quite a lot, especially the more comprehensive ones. Would you say they're smarter after reading it, or how would you react to that? They're not going to remember half of the stuff they read. And if they did, I mean, they're just like Google. Is Google smart? Google knows everything, right? But is it smart? Exactly my point. Not many people get the opportunity to develop this side of them. And it's unfortunate because, well-intentioned, a lot of, educational processes beat people down. They discourage them. They make them feel like they're not smart, like they're not intelligent, like because they couldn't pass a test, that they don't know anything, that they're just going to fail in the world, that there's no significance to who and what they are and what they can be. And the limits of their mind are put upon them before they even get to test and see how far it can go. But the fact is, your mind there's not really a wall or barrier on it. You get to decide how far it grows and how far its reach and expanse can go towards, what you can accomplish, what you can solve, what you can do for yourself and those around you. It's unbelievable. And I think that is smart. That's smarts, that's intelligence. And everyone is in control of their own. And it is something that you do have to develop. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. You may think you know everything, you have this great understanding of the world, or you may think you know nothing and you're just kind of drifting through your life. All I'm going to say is writing is it's going to take you farther. It's going to take you farther than you would be able to go on your own, because it's a process, it's a tradition that you're becoming a part of that's been passed down the species for quite a while. And it's been passed down for a reason. And I don't want to, it's not going to die. I mean, I'm not the one crusader of it, but I want to bring that out to you and let you know that when you take part of it, you don't have to pay there's no person like toll person who's saying it. Give me this money and then you can do this. As is so common with everything. To do this you need to do that. And you need to pay me this much money before you can even come close. I like to say I give all my best stuff away for free. I want my best writing content, education content to be better than the paid stuff that is out there. If I ever do offer something paid, you already know you have the stuff that you need here. Anything else like that is just more specialized. And that's what knowledge can do for you when you seek it out and utilize it practically and effectively. Your brain is very capable, and I would hate if you've been discouraged before in your life for you to just kind of resign to a life where you just think you can't really do much, you can't really think much, your brain isn't just that, it's not that capable of that much, you're just not that smart, that kind of stuff. It's just not true. It has nothing to do with the way you talk. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It's something you can take control of. The more you write, there's other ways to grow it too, but writing is a lot of fun. Writing is fun. It's something that you have more, in a sense, a comprehensive control over it, and control is nice too when it comes to this kind of stuff. You don't want someone pulling the strings, these puppet strings of how far you can develop yourself. No, you're the one who can control and set your own limits and surpass them, and set them again and surpass them. You'll find that your thinking becomes a lot better the more you write. You'll find that you're not just you think sharper, like, oh, I'm able to accomplish this very simple. I'm able to tie my shoelace better. Like it's not that kind of stuff. It's more just everywhere in your life. It's holistic. And it's free. It's like this guide I have on my website, also completely free. How to write a book in 30 days, 10 parts, and writing a book is just one of the most fulfilling things you'll ever do. I highly recommend you check out this guide, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you around.